see.
We are live. Okay. I need to monitor it on my phone as well.
Did you change the settings to public?
Yes. I just want to check. Hi, everyone. Hello. Sorry for our African time arrival. It's because of the network. I'm just happy that we are able to connect and still have this conversation tonight because Renele will not be here tomorrow. I just want to make sure that all is well and we are fully on before we can even start. Renele, maybe in the meantime, you can greet our audience and you can also tell us a little bit about yourself, and how was your day? Please tell us how your day was.
Hi guys. Joe, network has humbled us, but we are happy we managed to connect. Better late than never. And my day was hectic, but I couldn't wait to have this on, especially with her by my side. Looking forward to engage with you guys, to connect with you guys, to unpack this without holding back. And let's do this.
All right. I just want to quickly check there. Okay. So from our previous conversation, everybody wanted to find out, Uguti, how, because when we were having a conversation with Renelo in the first episode of Bekezela Ntombazane series, she mentioned family dynamics. We didn't really get much into it, deeper into it. We just merely touched on the surface about family dynamics and how it features in relationships, hardships of relationships. And we had since then a lot of people asking us to have the discussion, go a little bit deeper about family dynamics, what it means, what it entails, what can be done about it. And I'm happy because Renilo happened to be in town and I grabbed on the opportunity to say, you know what, please come over so that we can have this discussion tonight before you go back home. And here we are. But without wasting any time, I want to just go into it. Basically, tapping into what family dynamics really mean. It's the patterns of interaction between family members that influence family structure, hierarchy, the roles, the values, and the behaviors. These dynamics have very strong impact on the way children see themselves, others, and the world. Somebody's probably wondering, why am I mentioning the fact that it's children? It's because all of us in our adulthood, we are affected by what happens in our childhood. Because remember that our childhood, it's where the solid foundation is laid. Our social development, our emotional development, our cognitive development. So often enough, when we see the cracks, just like a building, let's take a building for as an example. When you see cracks in the building, we don't often say, oh, maybe the issue is the roof. We often say, oh, the issue is the foundation. The same way goes with us as human beings. We often have to look into our foundation. Hence, we talk about childhood development. The family provides the foundation for socialization and emotional stability. A child's behavior and development is directly influenced by how well his or her family function is. Hence, I said earlier on that it's all about the childhood. We'll probably mention quite a few childhood words. Please bear with us. We're getting somewhere with this. So it's important to understand that our social and emotional development is dependent on our upbringing. From childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. It's the way children starts to understand who they are, what they are feeling, and what to expect when interacting with others. Remember, as a child, you don't just grow up understanding that this is me, this is my body. We all have to learn. We've got ears, eyes, and everything. And we learn these things in the language that our household uses. From the household, then we tap into, obviously, it's our immediate family, it's our extended family, if you do have a relation with your extended family, and then it all goes beyond that into now the society or the community at large where we are raised. So how we grow up, it will always be shaped by the values of those whom we grow up around, the community which we grow up around. That is the center and the basis of our development. So from the last time, when we spoke about family dynamics, I'm going to quote a scripture where everything is going to be based. We are Christians, and even those that are not Christians, I'm sure you've heard this before. In Ephesians 5, verse 31, it says, "For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh." I want you to grab that. I want you to keep it closer to you, because this is the foundation of it all. Because you're told when you get married that, oh, you're married now, the word of God, which we base everything on, it says that the man will leave his father and mother and be united with his wife. So now we're going to have the discussion around that. I'm very interested to know. I have my own opinions and all, but I'm very interested to know what Renelo has in store for us. What is the take in all of this, Renelo? Before I even get to the questions I have for you, I want you to just tackle that scripture for me. What is it saying to you?
I want you to say it slowly. Eh?
Oh, okay, all right. Let me do that for you.
The man will leave his mother.
Yes.
And father.
Uh-huh.
Leave.
Yes.
Leave.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You said leave.
Yes.
Okay.
The man will leave. His father and mother.
And unite.
Be united.
Okay.
With his wife.
And become.
Okay. Yes. And become.
So there are three ways that I want us to focus on.
All right.
The first one is live.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is united.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is becoming.
Yes.
Become.
Yes.
Become.
Become.
So these three words, I'm going to focus on them. We unpack it. And I think that's where, and I know it's going to be difficult because you're sitting close to one another. So you're going to just shush, for a while, shush and listen to me. So I've got that authority. Give me the liberty to unpack it.
I'm going to give you the liberty to unpack it.
Okay.
Please, everyone, if you have any comments, please feel free to comment in the comment section. But I also want, because I received quite a few questions privately, because a lot of people were not open enough. Well, not open enough, we still have reservations. We're still in families whom are inflicting pain on us, and we're not ready to open the wound for them to know about it. So they have sent me messages privately on my WhatsApp. I'm going to give you the number in case you are viewing this and you feel that you don't have the confidence to post your comment, post your question on the line. So you can feel free to send your questions or comments on 064-535-3793. I'm going to say the number again. It's 064-535-3793. I'll also put it in the comments. That is for you who have a comment, a question, but you don't feel confident enough to do it yourself. We'll pose the question online, address it, but we will not mention your name.
As I have said, there are three words that we're going to focus on. Live, united, and become.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, if you look at so many family structures, the man does not leave his family. It's the woman that leaves the family and adopts the cultures and everything within the man's family.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the norm is. The norm is when Ntombazane, you are now married into this family, and therefore you cut off the relations because now you are the new daughter in this family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's why you see a lot of makoti, they must go to mama, mother-in-law, mother-in-law, monster-in-law, whatever you call them. You go there for guidance, you go there for all these things. So in essence, there still remains a channel for the men to go back home. And this is depriving the men to create a culture that is meant to be created as per the structure that is designed. Because if you look at the umbrella of authority, it says God, husband, wife, and the children. If you look at that closely, you will realize that family is not appearing on that structure.
So are you saying, Renelo, that according to the structure that you've given us, which is mostly what all of us are subscribed to, is that there is God, obviously the Holy Trinity, and then we have the father who will be the head of the family, and then we have the mother, which is the wife, and then we have children. But somewhat there's a disconnect, because there is the father, there is God, there is the family, the man's family, there is the man, there is the wife, and there's the children. Okay. Now, my question is going to be to you. I know I had asked you this before in our last discussion. I had tackled this slightly, but I want us to go back to it, because this is the reason why we are here. We had this discussion and now everybody wanted more. So tell me, does the family dynamics of people we get involved with have any effect in our relationships?
Yes, I've said it before and I will say it again. Yes, it does. And let me tell you why. And I'm happy in your intro, you mentioned how our childhood development affects the adults we are. And I'm going to give you 2 examples, right? There are so many dynamics around our families. Some of us are raised by the parents that were not married. Some of us were raised by parents that are very abusive. Some of us were raised by loving parents. Some of us were raised by undefined family structures where you are raised by the grandparents because your mom was married and she had to leave you with the grandparents for several reasons, right? All of these things have influenced us in how we do things. Either you say, I am not going to see what I saw as a child in my home, or I am going to do what I saw as a child in my home.
Yes.
Depending on whether whatever you are saying you are going to do, is it going to break or build? Because if I grew up in a family that my father was constantly kicking and abusing and screaming at my mother, or my mother is doing the opposite, screaming and shouting, because what we are not ready to talk about is how our mothers are sometimes the instigators of abuse. You know, the father will be very quiet and the mother is yelling all the time. You see that at home and you decide as an adult that whatever I saw in that house shall not happen in my own home. What we do not realize is the decisions that we are taking can have ripple effects. You may say, I shall not lay hands on my wife, or I shall not lay hands on my husband, but you silently address issues, you silently withdraw, you silently don't communicate. Like your coping mechanism is surrounded by you withholding your feelings, withholding your thoughts, withholding communicating and not recognizing your partner. So you are not beating them up, but your withdrawal is also creating a problem in the family, because marriage and relationships must be built around communication.
Okay. But, you know what, Renelo, I know you can talk forever. I know if I don't cut her off this one, I will listen to her for an hour and I'll just keep saying, It's very interesting what you're saying. You know what we often disregard is the fact that children do as we do, not necessarily as we say. We often want them to do as we say, as we are teaching them verbally, but they watch each and every little thing that we do. I mean, I notice it with myself. The mannerisms that I have from my mom, you know, how I would talk, how I would walk, same thing with my daughter. And essentially what you are saying is that if I am growing up in a household whereby I am looking at my mom, the abuse being beaten up, I could potentially it's either two things would happen. One, I would say, I'm not going to live like this.
Yes.
Or I could say, this is the way of life. This is what I know. This is what I shall do. The same thing that will happen to my son. If my son sees that the father is beating me up, right? The father is beating me up, two things would happen. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. It's either he would say, I refuse to be my
like
father, or he could potentially be the duplicate of the father. It's very, very interesting. And we need to understand that, remember, because of the emotional development, we are not born with emotional intelligence, guys. We are not born with social skills. All of these things we learn. So therefore, what we expose our kids to, essentially, they could potentially become. Second question, because we can go on for tonight without even covering all these questions that some of you have posed. How important then is it to know the background of the people we get involved with? I mean, let me break it down. Often enough, we are happy, we are in love, and we don't get to ask the deeper questions or the important questions. You know, you are happy to just be in love and have the butterfly stages and be happy for the guy to say, will you marry me? We never ever get to find out how important is it for us to know the background and the upbringing of the people we are with.
Once I'm looking, I must say, as young as I am,
Yes.
I've learned that love comes with vulnerability, you know, and we hardly talk about the things that have caused us pain, the things that have wounded us, and there's a cost to every wound.
Yes.
You know, there's a cost to every wound. There's a price to pay.
Yeah.
And the least you can do is be vulnerable with the person that you love. Tell them your fears. Tell them your fears. Tell them your pain. Because the truth is, we are all broken. And one thing that I've learned over the years is, as broken as we are like crayons. You know, you break a crayon in the mail, it still colors. Just sharpen it. You will see the beauty of it. But we think hiding our scars, hiding our wounds, hiding our pain, we appear more attractive and stronger.
Yeah.
What we do not realize is we've been defining strength wrongly.
Yeah.
Because we perceive strength as perfection. But what is perfection? Huh? What makes you perfect? What makes the person that you are with perfect? There is no perfection, because each and every one of us have a story to tell.
And that is true. That is very true. I
so
think
now, as you love with understanding that, you know what? This person has scars and I have scars. And that makes us unique. And we need to learn. And that's why, you know, friend, I believe in learning and unlearning. I believe in that. Or there should be a room, a relationship should be a safe net for you to talk about your fears without holding back.
Very interesting, Grenelo, because we often want to portray this perfect look, you know, that I'm perfect, I have it all together. But what we do not realize, it's that all of us, we have our own stories. All of us, we have our own defects. All of us have our own cracks, and those cracks, they don't necessarily define who we are.
Exactly.
Yes, they are part of the story. They are part of the journey which we have taken. And one of the reasons why we come in contact with people and we don't live in isolation, it's because in all of these imperfections, that's where we find our healing. In all of these imperfections, that's where we find mending, where now, you know, your imperfections, your pain comes in, it heals my pain, yours is healed by somebody else's. It's like a link. But because we live in society that says, you know, do not share your dirty laundry. We live with our own pain. We live with our own challenges that we have had to endure in our past. You know, I want to move on quickly. We started very late and we have a lot of ground to cover. Often, right, when women are asking these right questions, they are told that they are policing. they are told that they are police.
Mhm.
And what tends to happen, we retract
Mhm.
as women. And the minute we retract, a lot of barriers go up. How do we overcome that hurdle of being called policing or the police in our strike to find out the background of the people we are involved with?
Once again, it's very important to understand that where love is, where there is truly, truly a space for you to be who you are, there will be less and less and less of labels that comes in or attached to your character. Immediately, you are called a police. Immediately, you are called all these names. Of course, there will be retraction from you as a person.
Yes.
And that retraction means you cannot fully be yourself. And what we are saying is a relationship is a safe net to be yourself. And this goes back to, we stay in relationships where we should not be staying for various reasons. Dating should not be hard.
I also believe that.
It should not be hard.
It should not be hard.
But what makes it hard is we go for things that we think are acceptable. We have a rejection and acceptance criteria that we defined, but the universe doesn't know it. We have acceptance and rejection criteria that is set by our parents.
Yes, yes.
And what worked for them is not working for us. Oh, it didn't even work for them, but it's because that's what they know. You mentioned exposure. We only know what we know until we open ourselves to learn from other people.
Definitely.
So there's absolutely nothing wrong with having all these labels on your name. But the question is, are you being defined by what other people are saying about you, or are you allowing yourself to create a name that you truly own up to without apologizing to anyone?
Owning up to your own truth.
You own it.
Owning up to your own truth.
Yes.
Sure. Can we ever let go of what we learned from growing up, forming our own way, forming your own culture? I mean, that verse says that a man will leave his father and mother and be united with his wife. Can we ever let go of the culture with which we were raised up and build and formulate our own and say, okay, this is where, these are the values, let's start there. These are the values that my household shall follow in agreement with the wife, and this is the church we shall choose to go to.
Yes.
And this is the norms, our own new cultures that we are going to practice. Can we ever do that though?
Yes, nothing is stopping us. That's why I said there are 3 key words in that verse. It says leave. Leave is shedding off layers. You are shedding off layers of who you were and who you and as you are letting go of who you were, you are embracing who you are now and who you want to be.
And we determine it.
And only we can determine it. And then we now talk about unity. What makes you united with your person? Unity does not mean you disqualify the uniqueness that you guys have.
Yes.
Because you are unique. Unity means as you are, as imperfect as you are, you see perfection in what you're trying to create. And now the becoming is a journey.
Yes.
After now we think or becoming, it's instant.
It's very.
And that's why it was deliberate. The verse did not say you are one.
It says becoming.
It did not say you are one. It says
you
becoming, because it's a process. It's a journey. But what happens in the process? What happens in the process? In the process, you will have to shed off some layers and develop other layers. You will need to learn certain things and unlearn. So therefore, yes, we can correct what we see fit in our world. We can correct it. We have that power to change because change is inevitable. So now, as you are stuck up in the wounded child, you are most likely to be a wounded adult.
Yes.
But you can change. You cannot change what happened to you. You cannot change what you're exposed to. You cannot change it.
Mm.
And yes, it left you with scars. Yes, it left you with so many wounds. Yes, it left you bleeding. It left you with so many doubts. It left you with all these things. But the responsibility lies within you to change the future.
Mm.
What steps are you taking from today on, moving forward, to change it for your children? If you cannot do it for yourself, then do it for your children. Change the narrative in such a way that you will be happy and said, because of me, my family had a different story to tell.
Wow. I want to pose a question, Renee Lune.
Mm-hmm.
It was sent via WhatsApp.
Okay.
It said, how can we heal childhood wounds? How can we heal childhood wounds? I must put a disclaimer. All of us have our childhood wounds. All of us have it. You know, from the time where you noticed, be it your own personal family dynamic issues, or be it your next door neighbor's dynamic issues, however it might have impacted you, whatever it is that you might have come across, observed, went through yourself personally, or be it the wounds of your own parents, your mom, your dad, or your guardian, whoever that raised you up. All of us, we have our own childhood wounds that we have to deal from, because we did not fall off a tree. We came from families that have flaws, and essentially we too have our own flaws. But how then, moving on into our adulthood, so that we make sure we preserve healthy relationships? How do we heal from childhood wounds?
Wow, that's heavy. And you know what makes it heavy is to visit the child in you. You know, and as people, we tend to bury it. We bury the pain, we bury all these things. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to relive it. But what we do not understand is what we bury can potentially grow, because that is a seed. For a seed to grow, you must bury it. So these things catch up with us ultimately. And for us to heal the children within us,
yes,
we need to acknowledge.
Yes.
That's where it starts. You know, I did not realize how my childhood was affecting me until I had to go on therapy. And it was during that therapy when Dr. Mampewa said, you were never a child. Because at the age of 11, you had to take care of your younger sisters.
Yes.
You had to make sure that they are clean, they have done their homework. So you were never a child. And therefore, this thing is carrying out in your life. You become a mother because the child in you had to be demolished the day you buried your mother.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking, what is
you
this
had to
man?
put on your big, how do they say, big girl panties?
Yes.
Yes.
And it was during that session where he asked me, what childhood memories do you have except to make sure that your younger sisters have done homeworks and things like that? I was the disciplinarian of the family
at 11.
At 11. And now all I know is to nurture, because I had to nurture my younger sisters, and I become a nurturer in a relationship. I did not know how to release and be served, because all I've ever known was to serve. A concept that I'm still struggling with, I must admit. But it was that realization to say, oh my gosh, in my teen years, I had to worry about school fees.
Yes.
In my teen years, I had to worry about the cleanliness and all these things. I was taking care of the household. And now, in the relationship, I become the mother. You know, is this taken care of? Is this taken care of? And I forget to release so that I can receive. I release without expectation. And when it's my time to receive, I feel so much guilty.
And there's so much danger in that, because at some point you get so depleted yourself, because remember, you're just pouring out and pouring out. I want to use this analogy of I love it when we go to the Bible, guys. I love it when we go to the Bibles because we are rooted there. You know, please. You know, David talks about senolo sa ka se tletse se a tsholoha, ne? E reng ka sekgowa?
My well is overflowing.
Right? Hey, sekgowa.
It's overflowing.
So he speaks about senolo sa ka se tletse se a tsholoha. The dangers, or maybe let me say the beauty first. Let me start with the beauty. The beauty of the overflow, right? It's that people can feed from the overflow. But when now you are depleted, it means that people are no longer feeding in the overflow. They're feeding off of you inside. And once you deplete, what becomes of you? What becomes of you? That's why you'd find people are bitter, people are angry all the time, and you are not happy at all. But I don't want us to dwell there. I don't want us to dwell there. We're still talking family dynamics. Renelo has mentioned that she, at an early age, had to take care of her siblings. And that is part of the family dynamics. I just want to go through the family dynamics quickly. We have the nuclear family. The nuclear family, it's your ordinary family, what we know as normal. Allow me, it's not a correct term to use because all of us are normal, but it's what society has defined as a normal family, where there's a father, there's a mother, and their kids. Kids, doesn't matter whether they're adopted or they are born off of the couple, right? The second one, we have extended family. Extended family is mother, father, kids, aunties, uncles, grandparents. We still have contact with those, right? That's another dynamic. We have single parent family, where either you have a mother or a father. It could be due to divorce, it could be due to death, or whatever reason. The other one works there, far from the rest of the family, from home. That's a single parent family. And then we have sibling family. That's where you come in. That's where now there is no mother, there's no father, there's no adult. The eldest child, when we say eldest child, we're not talking about 18-year-olds. The eldest child, it can be at 11, like Renelwe, or any other age, has to now look after the younger siblings. This is a reality for many, a very, very much for many. And then we have same-sex family. We need to include same-sex family because this is the reality we live in. You know, we have to embrace all family dynamics. So Renela has already touched on one, but we need not disregard the other challenges that come with the other dynamics, right? I want to move on. Another question that came through our WhatsApp, I still need to check some more WhatsApps there. How do you say no? How do you say no without any disrespect to the things that you do not agree with? So here I am, I am married, I'm with my family here. But now, there are certain things that the mister comes with, and he wants to do them as he was taught, as he learned. Whether it works or it does not work, it's besides the point. We are trying to build our own culture, our own family, and stabilize our own family, right? Solidify our own family. So he comes with his own things from his family that he's imposing on me. How do I say no without being disrespectful?
You should have given me these questions, man.
What do you mean?
No, let me go to it.
Please go into it. I want you to dig deep, guys.
Guys, can we see? She wants to get me arrested.
I don't want her to get arrested. I mean, we are here to have, I mean, this is social media. We are socializing. Are we not socializing? We are socializing. So can we please socialize and learn from one another, right? So I need to know, how do I say no? Because here's the danger. When I say, Barry, Makoti, do this, and Makoti feels it, no, this I cannot do. This is out of my comfort. This is out of my understanding, you know. And it might have been what we agreed we will never do. But because now the family extended family comes in and taps into our space. I cannot now just dwell into it, but I want to say no. How do I respectfully say I decline? Thank you.
Wow, I must be honest. I'm one of those people that really struggles to say no,
Mm.
and it left some resentment in me, you know. But what I learned was I had to assess what harm does it cause when I say yes instead of saying no.
Mm. Mm.
And I paid some prices,
Yes.
high prices. I may not talk about it, but I paid a lot of high prices for going against my will.
Mm.
I
Mm.
did things for acceptance, hoping and praying that if I do it, I would be crowned as, the best makoti.
Yes. Nobody wants to not be a best makoti. We all want to be loved.
As the understanding, the adaptive, and all of that. But
Yes.
it left me dry, you know. And along the way, I have learned that some of these things you need to discuss it. But the question is how. In any sensitive issue to be raised, can we take into consideration the importance of timing and the tone we use? When you are saying, Makoti, Wanaki O, it starts with the children.
Yes.
That's where you learn a lot of things. Okay, now you meet someone, they don't have any signs of cultural beliefs that they have, and you think this is the way of life. And then you have a child, and they tell you in this family, we do this and this and this for the child. In this family, we do all of these things. It's simple things, and some of these things are heavy.
Yes.
And I have learned that it's very important to ask for what will happen if I don't do these things? What effects does it have on me? Because I remember very well, there were points I had to put on my duke, go to places I never thought I would ever go into my life in the name of adapting. But the truth is, when I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, my mother is probably turning in her grave.
I was not taught this.
I was not taught this.
Wow.
In the same breath, I said, this is where now it comes back to the Bible verse. I love that you're putting the Bible verse. Where you go, I will go. Your people are my people. You remember?
Oh my word. Oh, Esther.
Esther. Hey, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my. Your ways will be my ways. So that is the verse that kept on coming in my head. But the truth is, every situation has a different verse for it.
Yes.
There is a no biblically.
There is a no.
Yes. To say no.
Yes.
But we choose, we are very selective as people to say which one will you carry, which cross will you carry on your shoulders and say, this is the cross that I'm going to carry.
Paul talks about not confirming. He says, do not conform to the patterns of the world. And the patterns of the world could be the patterns of the world, could not necessarily mean literally the world out there.
Yes.
You could be sitting with the world.
Yes.
And you are conforming to those patterns of the world that are not rooted in you, in the Bible, your foundation. If the Bible is your foundation, we'll make reference to the Bible because that is who we are. But do not conform to the patterns of the world. And in as much as Bible verses are used and are quoted out of context to suit people in certain times, as and when they want to manipulate you into doing what they want you to do, there is also a point where you could say, but the Bible also says free will. Free will. I can say no. I can say no to this. We are moving on, guys. We are trying to cover ground, right? There's this one. It says then there is an issue of the in-laws who could show up at the door without prior communication, and you have to play makoti. Family dynamics, guys. Family dynamics. What do you say? Can you say, I'm busy? Can you go home?
No. remember in all of these things, motho ke motho ka batho. And motho being motho ka batho, and it goes back to kindness. Do unto others what you would like them to do to you.
Yeah.
It's also biblical. Understand that. So would you appreciate that done on you? Because now we are living in a situation where we go to work, you have plans, you have so many things to do, and people just rock up. It has nothing to do with the in-law. Anyone, friend, I cannot rock up in your house. You can't.
Now for TV in where I live, they give me a call at the gate. They will ask me, "There's a Renelo here. Should we open?" No, tell her, "Hey, I'm not home." Whatever story that you will tell her. Now I'm saying no, I'm not open for a nail.
You say. So it's very important for us to understand that
it's just respect.
With love
courtesy.
comes respect.
Courtesy.
And with love comes license. Liberty does not mean license.
And the space, it's not all the time where you are in a space where you want to entertain. It's not all the time. We find ourselves in different spaces, There are times when you are more than welcome to entertain people and be around people and socialize. And there's times where you want to be alone. You need to take your me time. And thing is, it's always very tired whereby your in-laws are visiting and you are saying, you'd want to be hospitable where you serve people that are visiting you. So kibutu, as Mama Zali, that you let me not say Mama Zali. No, I love my Mama Zali. Let me say kibutu for the in-laws when they come. Please have respect and understand boundaries. Don't call me when you are on your way to my house that I'm on my way to your house, accommodate me. No, tell me on time because I could have other prior arrangements. Let's just be courteous where we let each other know and in respect.
And just to add on that, I think people need to understand or to host requires planning, to prepare yourself. Here we are now. I had a long day and I'm doing this live interview. And the next thing I still have other things to take care of. And then you still have a visit. You don't want to visit somebody that is in a space where they cannot even have time for you. You understand? The purpose of your visit must be defined. Why are you visiting? Perhaps, yes, there are other things, emergency visits where you are, for some strange reasons you were stuck and you needed to be accommodated and all of that. That is understandable. Yes. But we need to bear in mind that we cannot make it a norm to just enter people's spaces without them allowing us to.
Definitely. I hope we answered you. What do you do when the family wants to impose and control everything in your household? Don't buy this house. Buy this one. Don't take your kids to school there. Take them here. Why are you making your kids eat that? Your kids should eat papa le morogo or papa le lebese. Like how?
It still goes back to leadership. Hey, I get we are submissive. And we need leaders. We need the kind of leaders that will be able to lead. And now it goes back to becoming. As you are becoming, you will shed off layers and develop some new layers.
Yes.
And now, as these things are imposed, where are they imposed? Because you had to leave. You had to leave. Who is imposing and on what grounds are they imposing? Because when you have left a space of boyhood to manhood, you have left a space of girlhood to womanhood. You are united. So in that unity, that's where you will be able to define what will work for you and what will not work for you. Now, there is a need for the men that you are with to protect you. To say, hi, in my house, those things are not going to happen.
Yes.
In a polite and respectful way. But you cannot do it on your own. Sometimes you need your man to be your voice.
Yeah. I love that you touched on that one. It was actually going to be one of the questions I posed, that what do you do when your partner cannot stand up for you? Because remember, guys, here's the thing, like on a serious note, here I am Kimpuluking, a foreign family, a family that I didn't remember. When you had all your life to grow up with your family, you had all your life to get accustomed to the character defects. You had your whole life, to say, you know what, it's okay, she's my sister Kerenulo also, I love her as she is and I accept her as she is. Now when I come in, I'm starting from scratch. I'm starting to learn and get integrated into a family that you had 30 odd years to get integrated in. How do I jump in there and find battles in your family when you are sitting in a corner and you are quiet? It's your responsibility to make sure I am welcomed, I am made comfortable, and you are my I love calling Una this every time when she speaks. Oh, Madam Speaker, she can advocate. You are the advocate of your wife. Your family cannot speak ill about your wife in your presence, and you press amen and hallelujah. No, even if it happens that your wife has done wrong, you know what? Speak to her in private, not in front of your family. You don't discipline her in front of your family. Because remember, these are the very same people tomorrow that will say, yeah, ke makoti o yang o. Oh yeah, ke ene mo o nyetse ngwana ko ga rona nka nyela ngwanyana o yang. Wa understand? So the question that I was asked to pose on the platform is that, what do you do when your partner cannot stand up for you to his family?
I've heard in times if people cannot stand up for you, you stand up for yourself. Eh?
I go to nail.
I'm serious.
You stand up for yourself.
Yeah, you stand up for yourself. You are responsible. You are responsible for your safety. You are responsible for your sanity. You are responsible for your stability. I think sometimes we put so much pressure on the next person. Unfortunately, we are killed by our expectations. The unmet expectation is what you're going to think your partner is not good enough because he did not stand up for me. But the truth is, what took away the strength in you to stand up for yourself?
Well, I guess nothing.
Nothing.
Or maybe the desire to be loved in the family, the desire to be
loved,
accepted in the family.
I hear all of that.
Or even for that matter, the desire, this notion whereby if Mosadi as a they would say, yeah, from a family that is now order. Her family is orderless. I understand. And often sometimes it's because we don't want to get batho and start embarrassing the families that we are from. When we leave our homes, well, I remember one guy who said that he was told things that, no, if you get your makwapeni, accept the makwapeni, just don't do it in front of your wife. But the women, you don't speak back to him. Even if he comes home at 4 a.m., you don't question him. Make sure that a handkerchief is always clean and ironed. We are told such things. And when you don't do those things, you get scared that the family that I am from will be embarrassed and humiliated. Maybe it comes from that.
And I agree with you. But it needs to get to a point where you realize that if you're sitting on a table where you're not served, it's your responsibility to stand up from that table. Your mother is not going to stand up for you. Your sister is not going to stand up for you. So in these analogies that we are using, there are so many to use. You just need to choose which one is relevant for you.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you do it loosely. Respectively so.
Yes. Respectively.
I often say that there's a question that just came through on the WhatsApp now. I'm going to address you. Just hold on. I'm coming to you. There is an analogy that I love. I love using. Now I've lost trail of my thoughts. What were we talking about?
We were talking about this, like more so. How you say.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's back. Yeah. I always say that when peace is something that comes from within, right? Peace, it's something that comes from within. You have it within you. If it happens that external forces start affecting your inner peace, inside you, if external forces are starting to affect your inner peace, it's your responsibility to stand up and excuse yourself. Be it cut them out of your space or make sure that you remove yourself in their space. Yes. That is your responsibility. And you don't have to be apologetic about it. And if it gives you peace that you are removed from that space, big ups to you. Big ups to you. Because nobody's going to come from out there and give you peace.
And you know what you're reminding me of? what makes the ship sink? It's not the water that it's moving on. It's the water that
goes
gets
inside.
So
it's
what
your
you allow
responsibility.
inside of your inner space,
Yes.
and you are folding your hands and saying, no, I'm waiting for someone to rescue me, you're going to drown. So hence I'm saying, as much as, yes, we would expect our partners to be the voice, our partners to be wearing this armor and shield us from all of these things.
Yeah.
The truth is sometimes you need to question yourself, where does loyalty stand in? There's so many dynamics, and you cannot, there are so many dynamics that we cannot even afford to ignore, because you and I are even just talking on the platform of what we exposed to. We are not even the psychologists that we could say there is mental relationships that are influencing all of these things. It's beyond us, you know, but the truth is, you are responsible for how you respond to the things that are happening to you. So if you realize that this is getting toxic, this is getting harmful, I know people that have had to break away from their own biological mothers. I know people that had to break away from their biological fathers. I know people that had to break away from their siblings because it was getting too toxic for them. So it's your responsibility to say, you know what, this is not for me anymore, and you close that chapter with love.
If you're no longer being served,
close it with love.
Get up from that table. You know, there's an analogy that I want to share. I love analogies, guys. I learned this earlier on when I was in university, that you're like a yard. Where you live at your home, there's a fence, right? If you live in a place where there is no fence, think about the walls. The walls, they work as a barrier. Your neighbor cannot come and throw dirt in your yard. They cannot come inside your house, just open the door and come leave dirt in your house, right? These things are there as barriers. Any healthy relationship, be it relationship with parents, with siblings, with friends, there needs to be barriers, because we're avoiding what? People taking the trash and throwing it into your yard, because there's going to be a point where that trash explodes on you. And remember, it's not even yours. It's not even your trash, it's somebody else's trash. Let me go to WhatsApp. I have a WhatsApp here. It says, how do you inform your husband that you don't want some of his family members in your space because they bring bad energy in you?
Wow.
I want to repeat. Okay. I want to repeat this one. How do you inform your husband? Because often enough, husbands are easy to say, hey, wabona that sibling of yours, hi. Angimthandi man, angimthandi. Ozala, sleep here, eat the food here, and does as he pleases. But when the tables have turned, how do you inform your husband that you don't want some of his family members in your space because they bring bad energy in you?
It goes back to the importance of communication and just being true to yourself and being true to your partner. We need to create a safe space. I always say, if there are certain things that you need to hold back from your partner, there's a need to reassess. There's a need to reassess.
Yes.
Because the truth is, the same husband does not love everyone. There are people that don't love you the same way there are people that you don't love, and you need to be open about it, to say, Mutwaga, you know, I don't feel comfortable around certain people. I'm not saying you should not have a relationship with them, but not in my space. Instead of them visiting me or us, how about you go visit them? Because I'm not blocking you from having the relationship with them. Because just because somebody's bringing negative energy to me does not necessarily mean they're bringing negative energy to you. And with love comes respect, and with respect comes boundaries. So you need to understand that within my space, there are certain people that I will not click with. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay. So now that's where it comes in to say, how much can you guys share? And can you rely on the person that you are sleeping with, the person that is in your space?
Yes.
The person that you're saying, this is my partner.
This is my
How
partner.
much can they protect? That there comes that vulnerability. If I'm saying I'm feeling vulnerable, how do you deal with my vulnerability? Are you just saying deal with it, Renee, strong? Or are you saying, you know what? we will find out ways. Instead of them coming over, I will go
Rather
over.
you go over.
Yes, and there are points where you will need to lie and cover up your person to say, hi, na Ali busy with 1, 2, 3. That's why she couldn't come over.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So in that way, you are creating a room for acceptance without forcing it on the next person.
We have a comment from Mantu. Ore, once your man can't stand up for you, just know you are alone in that relationship. I was in a relationship that my man would literally gang up with my in-laws, and I fought for myself and stayed true. Big ups to you, Mantu, because this is something that a lot of women fail to do. I don't know if I should use fail, if it's a correct term, but allow me to use it for a lack of a better word to use, that you were able to stand up for yourself and fight for yourself. Goes, oh my word, Pastor. Oring, I mean that. What? I mean a man. Oh, it's from your previous comment. Let me open the comments up so that I can't seem to view the comments here. I'll go just now on the other device and check. And Mike Chivomo says, powerful guidance, my leaders. We want to hear more from you guys. What are you saying? Is there any question that you might want to pose that you would like us to address and talk about it here? I want to quickly go to... okay,
and just to add on to Mansu. Mansu is a friend of mine that I know very well. And well, she's one of those people that I'm very proud of. She's one of the people that exposed me to so much, like so much. I was like, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. Those are, I applaud her in so many ways. These are the women. Yes, she's so young. She's younger than me, but yes, she thinks or she's very old. But I applaud her.
Just like you think you're older than me. Talking about age now.
Yeah, the truth is, I have been part of her life for a very long time. I have seen her knocked down. Just as if there's one person that I have seen and learned from is Mansu and Lerato. I'm sure she's in Lerato and Mansu. These are the women that I have learned and understood that, there's no manual for these things. There's no formula.
And that's the thing.
There's no manual.
The way you reacted or you solved your problems, it might not work for me either.
Exactly. So Mansu, and I know where she is. I really love you and I'm really proud of you, and I continue to learn from you, and I'm happy you stood up for yourself. And when I said, if he cannot stand up for you, you have to stand up for yourself, Manso, I had you in mind, because you started from the bottom. You lost everything that you worked so hard for. And I'm so humbled that today I'm seeing how you have rise, my girl. Keep on rising. And I know you are coming to this space to reaffirm other women that, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you have lost. If there's a will, there's a way, and you are one of those people. So the WhatsApps are coming in. Let's quickly
I want to hear this. I want you guys to listen to this. Uiza says, do you guys believe that a woman can and should lead? What is that a woman can do that a man can't? Can I please do this one? Can we go to the Bible?
All right.
I love the Bible. Fundisa. The Bible says, and has become, it's something that I recently came across. It's a revelation that I recently came across from Bishop Mokheti and my very own Archbishop Nzuza, where they were teaching about Genesis 1:26 to 28, right? It's amazing that I have it at hand. It's already, it's there. It says that when God created mankind, he created them male and female. And I have often wondered, Uguti, when God created them, he created them male and female. Why is it that if one was supposed to be superior than the other, why did he create two? Why did he create male and female if it happened that the other one was supposed to be superior than the other one? And what Pastor Mokheti says, well, this is my own understanding and my own interpretation. Everybody is entitled to their own, right? It's that give me a minute. God separated perfection into two. When he created perfection. God is perfect. God is perfect. God separated perfection into two. He started with the first perfection and he called him male. And he started with the second perfection he created and called them female. He called them male and female, right? And that is why there is this constant pull with females and males. There's always a pull towards the males. There's always a pull towards the female. The problem that we make as human beings is that we turn it into competition.
Yes. Say it louder.
You can do it better. Or I can do it better than you can. And I will show you that I'm going to do it better. That is the problem that we do because we don't understand. We were created perfect together. When we are together, that's where perfection comes in. And that's why there's always a force, a pull that pulls us together. When he created the male and female, half perfection, perfect together, he said, you will be the vision, the visionary as the man. I shall give the vision. The man will be the visionary. Hence, we refer to the man as the head. And he created the woman as the helper, helping coming in from an angle of the implementer. We always say that, no, we are implementers.
Yes.
We are the implementers. He carries the vision and we come in as a force of implementation because men sit on things. They sit on things, timing, but when woman comes in, things starts to move, things starts to develop. And that's why we need to understand we are not in competition, guys. We are not in a battlefield where at the end of it, the one with the most sweat stinking is the one who is better than the other. If God wanted one to be the greatest and better than the other, I'm sure he would have created them as one and made them whole and perfect. But he said, no, I'm going to split my perfection. And so that they can come together and complete each other. And you know what? And achieve. Please don't take me to church, guys.
Hey,
you will take
let me add on.
You will take me to church, man.
Let me add on. And it goes back to what we were talking about. Unite. As unite you are becoming. There it is.
Become one. Becoming
so
one.
Now the wholeness in you becoming one is acknowledging that there's perfection this side, there's perfection this side, and together as you come together, it's becoming. Yeah? That unity is what strengthens it. To answer your question, yes, women can lead. That's why we are saying we are the implementers. You are leading in implementation.
Thank you.
But when it comes to visionary, the man will lead.
Yes.
He will lead. Yes. And it's okay for him to lead. And because that's what he's made for. And we understand that part. And we are saying, take ownership of what you were created for in leading where implementation is concerned. Do it without holding back because that's what you were created for. You are the implementer of the vision that is set up in your household.
Agenda, guys. Know and understand your agenda. Know and understand what is it that you are created to do. Because once you know and understand that, this whole battle will not come into place. We are facing so many difficulties. We are facing so many challenges of gender-based violence. You know, there's a lot of turmoil that is happening in a lot of people where people are frustrated, and in them being frustrated, they're taking frustration on the women. Because you know what? Can I please say this one more time? This last thing before we wrap up. I was asked by a lady yesterday where she was, remember I was telling you that I've just received this question where she was asking, Oguti, why is it that when men are frustrated, they take out their frustrations on the women? And this is how I answered her, is that often enough, we as human beings, especially the male species, sounds like I'm animalizing them when I say species.
Say the kings.
Often when the kings, listen to the kings. You better be smiling when you are.
We acknowledge
I just called you as a king.
We are acknowledging you. The queens are acknowledging you.
Yes. Often enough, when men don't have power, remember that ego needs to be powered. That power needs to come from somewhere. There needs to be a force driving and feeding the ego. Whether it's a good force or a bad force, it's a different conversation altogether. So when men are disempowered, be it you are at a workplace where you are often made feel inadequate, right? And your power is being taken away from you, right? You go home. When you get home, you get to this less empowered person and you start beating them up. The psychology of it is that he's just trying to take power back. It's the wrong way of getting your power, but that is exactly what they are doing. People were asking, now this coronavirus, a lot of men have lost their jobs. The levels or the rates of violence have gone up, of gender-based violence has gone up. It has gone up because now he feels like, I'm not enough as a man. I cannot provide as a man. And now what do? They go and take that power somewhere else. If you want to feel powerful, take it from a giant, like a David did with a Goliath.
And you know what, now that you're saying it, I want to take it back to the women as well so we can understand how it works. The same frustration that you find yourself unpacking it roughly on your children when your man is frustrating you. We're not ready to talk about it, eh? It's the same concept. How women will just be shouting at the kids in the house because now,
yes.
We often go to the less powerful.
Yes, I get it.
To
the man is taking power from me.
On you.
Where do I go?
You go to the children.
Who are the lesser? Powerful.
So this is what answers that question of, does abusers do they know they're abusive? And I say yes, because they will never target someone that knows or who's stronger to them.
Yes, they will never target somebody who will be stronger.
Yes. So they look for the vulnerable one.
That is true. Yes. That is true. There's another question from is I can see that you are shooting at us today. I would so love to chat with you guys. It would be an awesome conversation. Of course, we are always open for that. Okay, let me go to this one. Do you guys believe that a woman can be as good a leader as a man in the context of relationship and marriage? When you say that she must lead in a relationship and marriage, I would like for you to actually break it down for us to say.
Let me quickly answer it. I think
okay.
I get it.
Can I go to the next one because it's still the same person? Maybe it leads up.
Right.
How do you empower women in the strength of leadership, and how does it grow in the context of marriage?
Oh, is you know what? Thanks for asking that one.
Yeah. Okay, shoot. Go to the first one. Go to the first one.
All right. It still goes back to acknowledging that in each and every one of us, you know, please start if you see your partner as your complementary over them being a competitor, you'll be able to understand that, as she has said, together you are the perfect creation that you're meant to be.
Yes.
So we need to start, and it may sound like a joke, but there's a need to of your weaknesses of your partner. And chances are, where you are weaker and you are stronger, she is weaker. And that's what makes marriage such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
The same way at work. You don't have the same strengths. You don't have the same weaknesses. And that's what makes that beautiful piece come together, because we are like puzzles. The shapes are different. But once you start putting them together, you will realize that they create such a beautiful art.
Yes.
So what we need to start doing as people, we need to shed off the sense of ownership. Just because she's my wife, I'm owning her. Just because this is my husband, I'm owning him. And understand that in that individuality, there'll be certain things that we need to embrace that we do not have in these people, and stop being jealous of each other and say, you know what, God gave my person this and this and this, and he gave me this and this, and use those gifts to your advantage. Don't use them to your advantage. As you come together, there is a force that will build. Unfortunately, that's what the devil has identified, and he's constantly nailing to break that gem that you do not even realize that you have.
Oh, we need to start wrapping up now. We need to start wrapping up. I know it has been over an hour and people have to prepare for work tomorrow. When you say that, how do we empower women in the strength of leadership, and how does it grow in the context of marriage? You know what? I often say that what has worked for me will never ever work for the next person. We need to understand that marriage is two people. It's you and your wife. Right at the beginning of the union of these two people need to sit down and say, these are the dynamics of our marriage. The Bible speaks about the woman loving, the woman respecting the man loving the woman. We need to get to a part where both of you are comfortable to sit down and define these two concepts and understand what they mean for us, the two people in this relationship. If I'm the CEO of my company, and damn, I am one, does it mean that when I come into the house, am I acting up as the CEO to my husband, or am I the wife? Am I the wife? What does it mean to my wife, to my husband, for me to submit? When I say I have submitted, what does it mean? When he says that I love my wife, what does it mean? In the language that the wife will understand, in the language that the husband will also understand. Submissive. Because to many, submissive means
not saying no,
doing everything as they please, beating you up and you saying yes, I'm just being submissive. I'm keeping quiet, I'm just being submissive. No, those are concepts that two people need to fully understand. I'm empowered in my workspace. I am the boss. Well, understand, when I get into my household, it becomes a different. I cannot be talking to my kids as if I'm in a boardroom meeting. I can't be raising my kids as if I am leading the people I am leading at work. Respect and values, those remain. But the how part we do it, it's the one that we need to define for ourselves in the spaces, in the families that we are in. Family dynamics, we need to understand the values, the hierarchies, the roles, and those things are things that we determine the people who are in this family, not the family you are from, not the family that I am from.
You are
this one that we are establishing.
The family
together.
You are establishing. It's very important to highlight that.
Yeah.
As much as, yes, what you have been through as a child, the family you are coming from has so many influence on what you do as a person. You need now to be true to yourself and true to the person that you're with. What will work for both of you?
Yes.
Because the dynamics now, remember, you are creating a bait for your children. That's very important. What culture do you want them to adopt from you? Are you proud of it? If you are not proud of it, what change do you want to see? And it starts with you.
Yes.
And as you acknowledge that there are things that we need to change as people, you will be able to progress as a couple, because together you'll be able to identify the cracks, and together you'll be able to discuss solutions that will work for you, not for your neighbors, not for your mom, not for your brothers, but for you as a couple. And I will keep on going back to the opening verse that she made. You unite. Understand that whatever differences that you guys will have, the main purpose is to unite. So you will be in the journey together to become one, to become what you want to be, to become whole. So as imperfect as you are, as you come together, you are able to create a safe net for yourselves and for your children, so that they can also become whole instead of breaking each other.
Yes, and you will be proud of the people that they become, because you would have set that ground, you would have set that foundation for them. So guys, we have neared the end of our conversation. I know it seems like it was so short.
I know,
but it happened. I will make sure that every time she comes in town, we do this and we have these conversations. Before I close, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for being such an engaging audience, sending the questions and us speaking about it. We have another live on Sunday at 2:00. I'll send the posters out. I'll be speaking to a young lady whom she was in a very abusive relationship. Drugs were involved, and we're going to have a conversation about that, because those also are dynamics, are family dynamics, which she felt the need to remove herself from. This Bekezela Ntombazane, it doesn't mean you need to come home in a body bag for us to say you are resilient. You don't have to be buried for us to say she was resilient. I want to say, Umanto has said a comment there, Bazalwani, the marriage institution is very dynamic. We must never relax, but understand that it's a continuous war that need one to bullet up smart and quiet. It's a war that needs a prayer warrior. That's why I call myself a returned soldier. Yes, you didn't die in the battlefield, Mantu. You returned. And the ones that are returned, we celebrate still. We love you. Have a wonderful evening. Remember to be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others.
Let love lead.
Let love lead.
Let love
Thank
lead.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Let's end it here. My friend, thank you for the wonderful conversation. Thank you, everyone.